Part 1. Please find a quiet place to sit and to listen to this audio. Once seated, close your eyes. Focus your attention on your breath. When you are ready, inhale slowly. Let the air fill your lungs. And then exhale slowly. Let the air escape from your lungs. Inhale again, then exhale again. Notice how your stomach rises as you inhale and falls as you exhale. Rises as you inhale and falls as you exhale. If your mind wanders, don't be concerned. Just gradually shift your attention back to your breath. Part 2. Now imagine that you have recently completed a bout of intense exercise outside. Perhaps you were jogging or had participated in sport. Visualize yourself slouched on a chair. You can feel the sweat pouring down your cheeks. You then realize that other parts of your body are bathed in sweat. Your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your stomach, and your legs. Mounds of sweat gather around you. Now, if possible, direct your attention to your blood vessels. Imagine that you can observe your blood streaming down these tiny pipes or channels that cover your body. However, because of the mounds of sweat and fluid that had gushed from your body, these vessels are not at all overflowing with fluid. Indeed, since the intense exercise that you completed, these vessels are quite sparse. Because these vessels are sparse, you notice the blood only limply presses against the walls of your vessels. In other words, your blood pressure is limited. The heart, therefore, cannot pump the blood to the brain as effectively as usual. Each pump of the heart pushes the blood meagerly along the vessels. The blood does not flow to the brain adequately. Not enough oxygen, glucose, or other nutrients enter the brain. Part 3. To overcome this problem, you need to restore the fluids in your body. You need to drink water. But one problem can arise if you drink only water. To understand this problem, imagine that you have consumed a huge volume of pure water. The water streams down your esophagus and gushes into your digestive system. The water then disperses from your intestines to the bloodstream. Your bloodstream is now bursting with fluid. Some of this fluid oozes into the space outside your cells, such as outside your neurons. So this water has increased the volume of fluid in your blood and outside your cells. But the water did not increase the number of molecules, such as the volume of salt in this fluid. Consequently, the concentration of molecules, like salt, outside your cells is lower than is the concentration of molecules like salt inside your cells. Perhaps imagine you could actually see the number of molecules in this fluid and the number of molecules in your cells, such as your neurons. The molecules might remember small M&Ms or tiny ribbons or some other shape. You notice the molecules, the various shapes, are more concentrated inside the cells than outside the cells. Because of the process called osmosis, this concentration of molecules inside the cells attracts fluid from outside the cell. Fluid thus flows into the cells. These cells may expand and may even shatter, compromising their function. Therefore, after people excrete fluids, like sweat, blood, or even diarrhea, they do not only need to drink more fluid, they also need to consume more salts to ensure the concentration of molecules in the fluid outside cells does not suddenly plummet. So how does the body accommodate this need? That is, after individuals lose fluids, how does the body prompt the brain to encourage the consumption of both fluid and salt. Part 4. After people lose fluid, their body produces a hormone in the blood called angiotensin II, a hormone that generates several benefits. You might want to repeat this word several times. Angiotensin II, angiotensin II, angiotensin II. How does the body produce this angiotensin II? In essence, whenever people lose fluid, their blood vessels are not as full as usual. Their kidneys are sensitive to this drop in blood volume. In response, the kidneys produce an enzyme called renin. And this enzyme causes one protein in the blood, called angiotensinogen, to generate angiotensin I. And then other enzymes help convert this angiotensin I to angiotensin II. But for now, you do not need to worry about the details. Just remember that whenever people lose fluid, the kidneys produce an enzyme that ultimately increases the levels of angiotensin II in the blood. So what are the benefits of this angiotensin II? That is, how does angiotensin II overcome the problems that emanate from fluid loss? Well, angiotensin II generates three main benefits. First, angiotensin II constricts blood vessels. Perhaps you can visualize angiotensin II like slices of ribbon floating in the bloodstream. You can then imagine these ribbons attaching to the inner walls of the blood vessels. And then once attached, notice how the blood vessels constrict and tighten. Second, angiotensin II encourages people to drink. Again, you can visualize angiotensin II like slices of ribbon floating in the bloodstream towards the brain. In particular, imagine this hormone float towards the third ventricle, a sac of fluid above the midbrain and brainstem. Watch this hormone attach to some of the neurons that surround this ventricle. Once attached, the neurons then begin to send action potentials like sparks of energy to another region just above the third ventricle called the subfornical organ. This region increases thirst and incites the urge to drink. Part 5. Finally, and most importantly, angiotensin II also encourages people to consume salt. Otherwise, the concentration of salt in their blood will be too low. Fluid would migrate from outside the cells to inside the cells. So how does angiotensin II encourage salt intake? Angiotensin II utilises several techniques to encourage salt intake. For example, angiotensin II changes neurons in the nucleus of the tractus solitarius, a structure in the medulla, towards the bottom of the brainstem that is vital to taste. In addition, angiotensin II affects the taste receptors on the tongue. In both instances, angiotensin II ensures that salty tastes are especially appealing. People feel compelled to consume more salt. They want saltier food. Imagine this urge to eat salty food like chips. Recognise this urge can be ascribed to the effects of angiotensin II. Part 6. In addition, angiotensin II also increases the release of another hormone, aldosterone. Aldosterone is released from the adrenal cortex, the outer shell of the adrenal glands, just above the kidneys. That is, imagine angiotensin II like slices of ribbon floating in the bloodstream towards these adrenal glands, close to your hips. Visualize these slices of ribbon attaching to the adrenal glands. And then, in response, imagine strips of paper emanating from the adrenal glands, each printed with the word aldosterone, aldosterone, aldosterone. This aldosterone also preserves salt. That is, aldosterone floats in the blood towards the kidneys, prompting the kidneys to retain rather than excrete salt. And, like angiotensin II, aldosterone also changes neurons in the nucleus of the tractus solitarius and taste receptors to enhance the yearning to consume more salt.